morning, jelly beans. This is Jewelry Jelly, and I'm here tonight with a new dolly friend. So, a couple weeks ago, I saw this head on Yahoo Japan Auctions, and I thought he was absolutely adorable. So, I put in a bid, and I ended up winning him. It was one of those things where you see it and you realize, okay, this guy has a name. And I named him Cody. 3 guesses as to who I named him after, and the first 2 don't count. But anyway, right now Cody is on Lily's body. He is borrowing it until I'm able to upgrade Lily's body to the Mini Dolphy Dream F3 2.0 body, because I also have bought some aftermarket parts for Cody, specifically a torso that has, well, the best way I can describe it is a boy body torso. So it has the boy chest and the boy bottom. That's the best way I can really describe it. Anyway, George Washing Machine is here too. And there's another thing that I need to show you all. The newest issue of Nintendo Force is finally out. MJT82, I think you're confusing Cody with the 60 centimeter resin ball jointed dolls with the magnets in strategic locations. So, what is in this month's issue that I worked on? First of all, we have our cover story, The Bond Between Brothers, because this issue is going to be focused on Mario and Luigi Brothership, which just came out. This page here, I got to showcase a couple of couples of brothers that are very important. Sans and Papyrus, and Edgar and Sabin. And then, my one review in this issue is a very special and happy one, because it is a review for Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, which, by the way, I gave it an 8.0, but to be honest, the second game in the collection is so much better than the first one. The way that I see it is that the first one was like kind of a test run, and the second game just frickin' blew it out of the water. It had all of the hallmarks of the later Ace Attorney games, mostly a story that just, you didn't think that it was interconnected, but things start falling into place, and you've suddenly stumbled upon a years-long conspiracy with earth-shattering consequences. But anyway, that is what was in this month's issue. It is the last issue of 2024, and we are starting work on the first issue in 2025. And I am, for one, I do know one of the, I do know that one of the reviews that I did that was not able to be included in this issue is going to be in the next issue, because this next issue's theme is going to be all about nostalgia and comfort games. And I played a very comfortable game this past summer called Natsumon, which is a spiritual successor to the Boku no Natsuyasumi games. And it was absolutely excellent. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Boku no Natsuyasumi series, but they are very popular in Japan, and unfortunately there's only one title that has gotten a fan translation in the West. It came out earlier this year, or I think last year, but Natsumon is the spiritual successor, and it got an excellent localization, and it is very cozy. Anyway, we are going to hop right back into Tyrion Cuthbert. In this case, we are going into case 2. The Walking Dead. Let me go! I'm not going anywhere until I see her! I'm sorry, Wallace, but she's already passed. There was nothing more they could have done. How? This academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom! Are you telling me that they couldn't do anything? Her condition was much worse than we thought. The kingdom's magic isn't advanced enough to treat something like this. Lucio Steelwind can rain meteors from the sky. William Frege can teleport entire caravans across the continent. Are you telling me that your mages couldn't cure one disease? I'm looking at him right now, and it looks like it says occupation student, age 16, arcane art, necromancy. He's gonna try to raise the dead, isn't he? I'm sorry. I truly am. Emily. I'm sorry, Celeste, but there's no way out of this. Celeste's attention is sharply focused on the chessboard between you two. You can see her eyes quickly dart from piece to piece. Just give me a second. I can still win this. Celeste, there's no way for you to avoid checkmate next turn. Just surrender. She ignores you and continues staring at the pieces. There. What about that? Checkmate. Damn it. Would you two keep it down? We are in a library. Ms. Tamora glances at the chessboard. I hope you didn't spend the entire morning playing around. I've been working hard, Ruby. I've already learned 2 new spell formulas since we got here. Well, at least there's that. What about you, Cuthbert? Well... Your flustered stammering tells her exactly how much progress you've made. I couldn't find any books about the subject we've been looking into. You've spent the entire day combing through the kingdom's imperial library, researching the Eye of Horus. During Celeste's trial, you awakened to a new ability that you never used before. Up until then, you thought that the eye could only see surface-level thoughts. But during that moment with Garrick Pierce, the Eye of Horus was empowered, and you could see far more than usual. You told Ms. Tamora about what happened, and it made you both wonder what other hidden abilities the eye might have. You both decided it's time to find out more about the eye and its origins. This library supposedly held the kingdom's entire knowledge of magic and the arcane arts. But you couldn't find a single mention of any ability like the eye. Does the kingdom seriously lack knowledge about it? Or do we need to look somewhere else? Are you sure you can't tell me what you're researching? I've traveled around the world. I might have seen something like it. You entertained the thought for a moment, but you haven't known her for very long. The Eye of Horus is a supernatural ability that can't be detected by a spell compendium. You've always been wary about what the kingdom might do to you if they ever found out about it. Sorry, it's not something I can really talk about. Fine. If I had to guess, I would say that they're looking into supernatural phenomena. Huh! You and Celeste nearly jump out of your chairs. You look over to where the voice came from. She appears to be a student at the academy. Darn it, who does she remind me? Oh, well, what's the name of the girl from No Matter How I Look at It, It's Your Guys' Fault That I'm Not Popular? Well, yeah, Viola Cadaverini, yes, but I was thinking more along the lines of, that one girl from that one title I mentioned. You look over to where the voice came from. She appears to be a student at the academy. How long was she there? You didn't notice her presence at all. You also feel like she looks oddly familiar. I don't know if you can see it as well as I do, but check out her hands. They're all bandaged. I think she's the girl from his dreams. I'm terribly sorry if I startled you, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. As the girl approaches your table, you see another student frantically running after her. Eris, you can't just... I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine, Wallace. I'm sorry, but who are you two? Sorry, that was incredibly rude of me. My name is Eris Illmater. And this is Wallace Nightgrave. We're both students here. Hi. Not to be rude, but that was a private conversation. Just how much did you hear? I wonder. Reading about the supernatural is actually a hobby of mine. I might be able to help you with your research, Mr. Cuthbert. And what makes you so sure that is what we are researching? Mr. Cuthbert has a bad habit of muttering to himself when he thinks. I assumed that his research had something to do with the supernatural. You feel a piercing side glance from Ms. Tamora. You avoid eye contact with her. But anyways, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Of course. I'd be happy to help. Wait. Whoa, what was that? Fine, I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Just remember to show some discretion, Tyrion. Right. The library is full of books for educational purposes. You've been combing through these books all morning. It's a holy text of some sort. It must be related to the Church of Bahamut. It's a table for students to sit at. You've been sitting here with Celeste all morning. There's some sort of notice taped to one of the shelves. Due to constant misuse of the Arcane construct's voice systems, voice lines can now only be said by Headmaster Redmond. You wonder what it's referring to. It's a globe of the world. It's amazing how many other nations there are aside from Wyvern Guard. I've been to most of these places. You should come with me next time, Tyrion. That's a nice thought. Maybe you can travel with her when you're less busy. Okay. So, you two are students at the Imperial Academy? Yes, I'm currently studying illusion magic. Illusions? That's the kind of magic that lets you turn invisible, right? Technically, yes, but few mages ever reach a level high enough for that. I'm a bit embarrassed to admit that I'm not able to cast invisibility. That's still pretty cool. What about you, Wallace? Wallace has his own unique field of study. It's probably not your place to pry. Everyone is talking about you two. Really? It's rare for the school to let any outsiders in. That makes sense. This library isn't exactly open to the public. You were only able to get access to it because of Ms. Tamora's connections. We only ever get occasional visits from the noble houses, so I was curious as to who was able to break this dull monotony. Well, I'm a mercenary, but now I work as Tyrion's bodyguard. Mercenary? After her trial, it turned out that Celeste was more than capable of affording your services. However, Ms. Tamora still proposed a different arrangement. After indicting Garrick Pierce, you painted a large target on your back. With Celeste being a mercenary, Ms. Tamora decided to hire her as your bodyguard. She figured you would feel more comfortable around someone you were already friends with. Anyways, I'm a defense attorney. Defense attorney? My apologies, it's just not what I was expecting. What's that supposed to mean? Supernatural phenomena. I wonder why you would be researching such a thing. Yeah, I want to know too. I'm sorry, but I can't really say. Regardless, there are many spells in this world. So, why are you so convinced that this phenomenon wasn't produced by a spell? What we're looking into doesn't seem to follow the classic rules of magic. Oh, how so? Please tell me. It was created by someone who's not a mage. Oh, really? So you're saying this was something created by a person? The words came out of your mouth before you realized it. You send a small apologetic look to Ms. Tamora. That does remind me of a story. Story? Mr. Cuthbert, do you know the legend about how the kingdom of Wyverngard was created? You mean the story about the ancient dragons? The ancient what? Does Wyverngard have a story about ancient dragons? It's only about one ancient dragon. The Church of Bahamut refers to him as the Scaled Lord. I said Bahamut, not Blaha Blast. I'm sure you've even heard people mention him before. Legends say that the first mages were created centuries ago by him. At that time, our kingdom was caught in the middle of a brutal war. With no way to defend themselves, the kingdom was on the brink of destruction. Our people prayed to Bahamut, the god of dragons, for salvation. And almost as if to answer their prayers, Rathalion, the last Scaled Lord, appeared before them. The Scaled Lord bestowed the gift of magic on a band of heroes who were fighting on the front lines. With their magic, these heroes utterly overtook the kingdom's enemies and single-handedly won the war. It's said that these heroes went on to form the noble houses of today. What a load of nonsense. That story is nothing but religious propaganda to prop up the noble houses. Regardless, the significance of this legend is in the Scaled Lord himself. Do you mean Rathalion? Rathalion bestowed the power to become a mage on several individuals. And to this day, that power can only be passed down genetically. Can you think of an arcane spell that can produce something like that? No, I suppose not. Rathalion must have had powers that weren't bound by the rules of the arcane arts. In other words, he could create supernatural phenomena without following the rules of magic. Please, do you honestly expect us to believe a story like that? It's completely unrealistic. As unrealistic as a non-mage using supernatural powers. She has a point. It's a far-fetched theory, but it's honestly the closest thing you have to a lead right now. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Of course, it would be you lot making all this noise. Suddenly, a woman who appears to be an instructor approaches you. She looks upon each of you with an equal amount of disdain. Professor Bellwether! That is Professor Bellwether to you. But didn't he just call you? I knew letting you rabble into our walls would lead to nothing but trouble. You've even started associating with our malcontents. The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. If you have an issue with that, take it up with him. I'll have you know that I was on my way to do just that. Wallace? Yes? How am I supposed to understand you when you're stuttering? Yes, Professor Bellwether! Straighten out your uniform and fix that awful hair. You look like a street urchin, but I suppose it's unreasonable to expect anything more. And as for you, I'll be on my way. Whoa, there it is again. What a bitch. Celeste! Oh, come on, we were all thinking it. Anyways, with that out of the way, shall we begin? What? Why do you keep detecting fear from Celeste? Wallace, you finished this week's assignment, haven't you? Would you mind helping Celeste with her research? I don't know. Now that you mention it, I could really use some help finding a specific spell formula. You know your way around here, right, Wallace? Okay. Don't worry, Ms. Tamora. I'll be more careful from now on. Please do. I still have some business to take care of here, so I'll leave you all to it. You spend the next few hours searching through the library's books with Eris. You hadn't thought to look into the ancient dragons, and the library had books about them in abundance. There was one problem, though. There are a lot of myths and stories about the ancient dragons, but it's pretty difficult to tell fact from fiction with these accounts. It can't be helped. The Church of Bahamut is the dominant religion of our kingdom. We have the bones of dragons displayed in museums, but those bones are the only widely known evidence of the dragon's existence. Except for Rathalion, possibly. I wonder if he's still alive, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, our kingdom's constitution still includes him in our government. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position on our political hierarchy. Excuse me. The ancient dragon's authority technically rivals that of King Olivier. Wow, I had no idea. How have I never heard of this before? To be honest, that law is just a way to revere him and appease the church. Well, Rathalion couldn't possibly be any worse than the nobility. Ah! You're so stuck in your own thoughts that you accidentally bump into a bookshelf. The shelf begins to tip over, and you're able to catch it before it fully falls over. But not before several books fall out from their shelves. They hit the ground with a cacophony of thuds. Some students glance in your direction. Be quiet! Sorry! Be quiet! Eris begins giggling. She seems amused by what's happening. Hey, are you okay? I heard a loud... Whoa! Celeste stares at the pile of fallen books. What did you do? Forget that. Just help me clean this up. There's no need for that. Construct. I require assistance. Acknowledged. Ah! What? Upon Eris's command, one of the nearby suits of armor suddenly springs to life and begins walking towards you. The voice coming out of it sounds human, but it lacks emotion. Why does it sound familiar? Wait, did you do that, Eris? Yes, this is an arcane construct. It's a suit of armor that's animated using artificery. They're designed to carry out various tasks for the students. Arcane constructs has been added to your notes. Arcane constructs are suits of armor that are animated using artificery. They can carry out simple tasks when ordered to. The ones in the Imperial Academy speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. These voice lines can be only changed or adjusted by the Academy headmaster. Every command given to a construct is stored in its command log. However, this command log must be cleared regularly. Really? I didn't know anything like that existed. They're still experimental, so they aren't available to the public yet. With that being said, Construct, please place these books back where they belong. Acknowledged. On Eris's command, the construct begins quickly picking up the books. It moves with inhuman efficiency. After only a few seconds, all of the books are back on their shelves. Wow! So, they do whatever you tell them to do? Well, there are some limits to... Construct, tell me that I'm the fairest maiden you've ever seen. Command rejected. Ah, what? I guess they're not allowed to lie. You feel a sharp pain in your side as Celeste quickly jabs you. The construct's voice is just a series of pre-recorded messages. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it uses the voice of Professor Bellwether. Unfortunately, you can't make them say anything other than what's recorded. Only the headmaster can change those settings. Artificery that can record audio. I've never seen anything like it. But you just said they're experimental, right? Maybe if I keep asking it, it'll just give up and do it. I would advise against that. Even if the commands are rejected, they're still stored in the construct's command logs. Anyways, we should probably get back to work. Fine. You read more about the ancient dragons, but most of the stories read more like fables than actual historical accounts. I don't feel like I'm making any progress. Suddenly, you hear a thunderous, low-pitched sound blare across the room. It sounds like a high-pitched horn, but with its volume turned up to unnatural levels. What? Celeste, do you hear that? Ugh, how can I not? What is that? You didn't touch anything you weren't supposed to, right? What? Of course not. It finally stopped. Eris, wasn't that the lockdown system? Yes, I believe so. Lockdown system? The Academy is outfitted with a large artificery system. In a state of emergency, it will erect magical barriers throughout the building. State of emergency? Should we be worried? Don't worry. The lockdown is designed to keep everyone safe. We're safe as long as the barriers are up. But Miss Tamora, she said she was going to do something on campus. I'm terribly sorry. You suddenly hear a disembodied voice echo through the library. It sounds like it's being projected magically. It's the headmaster. He's using the intercom system. Students and faculty, please, remain calm. There's been a murder on the academy grounds. What? Please stay where you are and wait for law enforcement to arrive. Damn it, we have to get out of here. I'm afraid that's not possible. The lockdown system protects and locks each room. We can't leave this room until it's deactivated. Well, we won't know until we try. You run to the entrance and begin frantically pulling on the door's handle. You try to put all your strength into prying it open, but it doesn't even budge. Tyrion, stop! But, Miss Tamora! I know that you're worried about her, but there's already been a murder. We don't know where the attacker is, or if they're still armed. The best thing we can do right now is stay here and wait. She's right. Damn it. Celeste's hand rests on her sword. Her eyes are carefully watching the entrance. Wow. We've been here for hours and she still hasn't stopped watching the door. She was also able to calm you down earlier. It's easy to forget sometimes, but she's always reliable when it really counts. What? Students and faculty, thank you for your patience. Law enforcement has secured the building. The lockdown has been lifted. However, please remain in the building until... The headmaster is barely finished with his message before you're out the door. Tyrion! Hey! Don't go off on your own! You desperately run through the academy hallways. No! Miss Tamora? Miss Tamora, where are you? You have no idea where you're even going anymore. You can feel your fear and anxiety rise with every passing moment. Where is she? Cuthbert? What's wrong? Why are you shouting? Miss Tamora! Calm down, you're hyperventilating. I heard there was a murder and... I've been looking all over for you. And you were worried about me? I just... You hug Ms. Tamora tightly as you're overcome with emotion. She's usually not receptive to affection, but you don't care. You're just relieved that she's safe. Tyrion, there you are! And you're crying. Sorry, I didn't mean to worry you so much. We heard the announcement. Do you know what happened, Ruby? I do, but... You see Ms. Tamora glance at Wallace for a brief moment. For now, I think we should head to the foyer. You arrive at the foyer and see the room swarmed with a legion of familiar knights. Is that the Inquisition? Don't tell me. The headmaster mentioned that there was a murder on campus. Someone used magic. Hey, you there! As you enter the foyer, Commander White notices you and begins marching in your direction. But attention isn't focused on you. Huh? Are you Wallace Nightgrave? Yes, but... By the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. Hey, what are you doing? You three? The hell are you doing here? You said he was under arrest? On what charges? This kid is charged with the murder of Catherine Bellwether. What? Wasn't that the professor you met in the library earlier? Like hell you're arresting him. He was with us in the library for the entire morning. There's no way he could have murdered her. Move aside, Celeste. But Miss Tamora is right. If Wallace is a suspect, we can't stop the Inquisition from arresting him. No. Don't worry, Wallace. We'll get to the bottom of what happened. Without a word, Wallace allows the Inquisition to drag him away. My apologies. I'm going to go and check on him. This is terrible. I still don't understand. Why would they suspect Wallace of all people? I'm not sure myself. Unlike most magical homicides, the school is filled with plenty of mages. There has to be a long list of suspects. Isn't there anything we can do? I'm going to go investigate what happened. Cuthbert. Yes? He hasn't accepted you as his attorney yet. You don't even know if he'll be working this case. But I know that he's innocent. I just can't sit here and do nothing. Well, I clearly can't stop you. But please, remember that being an attorney is your job. It's not charity work. Don't come crying to me if you run out of gold. Right. Anyways, I still have some business to take care of in the city. Will you two be okay handling this? Yes, we'll take care of this. Good. I'll leave everything to you then. Alright, let's go, Celeste. Right. Okay, we will do a save. It's been a few hours since Wallace was arrested. You and Celeste were with him during lockdown, so the Inquisition had to take your statements. But the more they questioned you, the more you could tell that they had doubts about your testimony. You will need to do more if you want to establish an alibi for Wallace. That took longer than I expected. We've already lost a lot of time talking to the Inquisition, but we should be free to roam around now. Where should we go first? The crime scene sounds like a good start. We still need to figure out what actually happened. Ruby said that the body was found in Lecture Hall 2B. It's in the west wing of the school. Alright, that seems like a good place to start. It's a painting of a man with some sort of creature on his arm. There's some text under it. Dr. Delbit Tafaros, a mage, historian, archaeologist, anthropologist, and botanist. Best known for his work in studying the history of the ancient dragons. Through his work, great leaps were made in the study and development of a school of evocation. On his arm is one of the last pseudo-dragons, which have now gone extinct. It's a painting of a professor with some kind of magical tool. There's some text under it. Dr. Paul Vuorella, also known as the Archaeologist of the North. He spent many years studying and exploring the mountainous regions of Chardalon, and through his investigation, he came upon one of the many layers of the Scaled Lord. He was honored both by the Church and the Wyvern Guard Historical Society for his impressive discovery. It's a statue. There's some writing on the platform it's on. Gillian Chemnitz, the inventor of early artificery. So this guy is the one who invented it. Who would have thought that we could use machines to harness magical energy? Artificery is truly a marvelous invention. With it, anyone can utilize the convenience of magic without having noble blood. Although the expenses of owning artificery present their own barrier. But that expression on the statue, it kind of looks like he doesn't want to be here, even though his statue is huge. He does give off that attitude, doesn't he? Okay, does it look like there's any other places to examine? Okay. I hope Wallace is okay. He looked really scared when Commander White arrested him. Don't worry, we'll find out what really happened. But first, you need to inspect the crime scene. Where should we go next? The first thing we need to do is find out exactly what happened. Biz Tamora said that the body was found in Lecture Hall 2B. We should start our investigation there. Okay, we're gonna go to Classroom 2B. Hey, stop right there! As you try to enter the classroom, you're stopped by one of the Inquisition Knights. I'm the defense attorney for the accused. We have a right to investigate the crime scene. Yeah? From what I've heard, the kid doesn't even have an attorney yet. Right, you haven't been able to talk to Wallace about that yet. It's quite all right. Let them in. Lady Steelwind? Do not call me that. While you work under me, you will address me as Prosecutor Steelwind. Yes, look, Prosecutor Steelwind. What's that smell? As you enter the classroom, you find yourself inhaling a sour and rancid odor. The stench is so overwhelming that your eyes begin to tear up. Don't worry, you eventually get used to the smell. What are you even doing here, Steelwind? I'm here to coordinate the investigation. You look around the crime scene. There isn't a single Inquisition knight in the room. Isn't that the Inquisition's job? Due to the circumstances, I've decided to handle this case personally. Well, since we've got you here, could we ask you some questions about what happened? Can I assume that you're planning to defend this case? That would make you my opponent. What do I have to gain from helping you? Right. However, I would be willing to answer your questions, but only if you answer some of mine as well. Oh, okay. What could she possibly want to ask you? Oh, Tyrion, I almost forgot. Since this is our first official case together, I wanted to show you something that I learned. Okay, what is it?
Arcanum.
What was that? That is the incantation for the Detect Magic spell. Detect Magic? Wait, does that mean... Yep, we can see magical traces while we're examining crime scenes now. Okay. So we will be able to detect magic.
Arcanum.
There's a trace of illusion magic next to the body. We believe that the suspect donned an illusory disguise immediately after murdering the victim. Using his disguise, he discreetly made his way back to the library unnoticed. Assuming that Wallace isn't the murderer, the real killer must have used a similar disguise, which means that no one would have seen them leave this classroom. It'll be harder to find any witnesses that saw the perpetrator. What? What's wrong? There's a trace of necromancy on the body. Necromancy? Isn't necromancy the type of magic that creates undead? She's not just going to get up and walk away, right? We're honestly not sure. That's part of the reason why I've stationed myself here. But what does that have to do with Wallace? Oh, you didn't know? Wallace Nightgrave is a necromancer. He's a what? We believe that he drained her life force completely using a necromancy spell. That's why there are no visible wounds. Here is the autopsy report. It will tell you everything that you need to know. And then I will pull out an updated version in the middle of the trial. Autopsy report, Catherine Bellwether. Died at 2:01 p.m. Body shows no signs of cuts or bruising. The alchemist report has verified that death was not caused by poison or disease. Body shows traces of necromancy and illusion magic. Cause of death is not apparent, but very likely caused by necromancy magic. But in the modern day, even the Inquisition doesn't commonly deal with necromancy. They're all on edge about what other spells he might have used. So, I'm here to make sure that nothing unholy happens to the body. You can't believe it. You've heard stories of necromancers before. But why would Wallace be studying something like that? But even if Wallace is a necromancer, aren't there plenty of other mages who can cast necromancy spells? This is an academy for mages, after all. No, there are no laws against it, but the knowledge required to learn necromancy is heavily controlled. No one in their right mind would dare teach necromancy beyond basic healing magic. Frankly, I'm surprised even one student at this school was allowed to learn it. I can see why. But because of this specific piece of evidence, we know that he's the murderer. But it's still too convenient. That's the first time you've seen a thought from Steelwind. Normally, you can only see thoughts from people who are stressed or excited. You doubt that Ms. Steelwind is excited, so is something causing her to be stressed? Is there something you're not telling us, Steelwind? Because something tells me that this case isn't as straightforward as you claim it is. If you truly believe that, then why don't you prove it? The eye can't see any more thoughts from her. She must be subconsciously guarding her mind now. But she's clearly hiding something. I can't believe the professor is dead. We just saw her this morning. There's a chalk outline around where her body was. It appears that most of this blood came from her abdomen. Is that where the fatal wound was? There's a lot of blood in this puddle, but there's no trail leading to it. And there aren't any magical traces anywhere else in the room. I doubt the murderer used magic to clean it. Does that mean that the murderer attacked her in this room? Maybe, but it's hard to say for certain. Okay, so there's a bloodstain under the body, but let's see. No cuts or bruising, but there was a bloodstain underneath her body. I wonder why that was. The lecture hall has a window with a view. I feel like I'd just stare outside all day if I had to attend class here. You're not much of a student, are you? I just can't spend hours sitting in one place. I need to move around. She was pretty antsy while you were studying in the library earlier. How have you learned so many spells if you're so distractible? I don't know. I just learned the spell formula and cast stuff. I see. Is that not normal? It's a painting of some sort of musician. There's some text written below it. Dr. Nicolas Gossu, inventor of the Arcane engine. His work revolutionized trade and travel across the seas. He was well known for not discriminating between the common folk and the nobility, judging his assistants based purely on their merit. When he wasn't conducting research within the Imperial Academy, he was known to compose symphonies for the king in his free time. Looks like he was a man of many talents. Oh, they have books here too. They appear to be textbooks about alchemy. Aw, lame. This must be where the students sit during lectures. Ugh, I can't imagine sitting in one place all day. Have you never attended a school before? No, we never had a proper school in Cornhaven. I mainly got my education from books that my parents brought from traveling merchants. What about you? I used to attend a public school in my hometown, but after Ms. Tamora adopted me, she handled my education personally. Ms. McCoy, it's my understanding that you were adopted. Would you happen to know who your birth parents are? Hey, isn't that too personal of a question? You agreed to answer my questions, didn't you? But I didn't think you meant... It's fine, Tyrion. I'm fine with answering if it helps Wallace. Aw. I don't know who my birth parents are. I've never tried looking for them. I see. If I recall correctly, your spell compendium only contained one spell. Considering your upbringing, how did you learn Mage Blade in the first place? I bought a scroll from a merchant a few years ago. It had Mage Blade's spell formula on it. But I know more than one spell now. I actually just learned a few new spells today. I'm sorry, spells? As in plural? How long did it take you to learn these spells? A few hours, I think. She learned multiple spell formulas within a few hours? What was that just now? I see. Well, I think that's all I need to ask for now. Okay? She's sharing information about the investigation for that? Why is she so interested in Celeste all of a sudden? Ugh, I can't take it anymore. That smell is driving me crazy. What is that? From what I understand, there was a bit of an accident a few days ago. It happened during one of the classes that the headmaster was teaching. He misread the instructions for an alchemy experiment, and as a result, he accidentally produced this rancid-smelling vapor. Vapor? It's not poisonous, is it? Of course not. I wouldn't be standing here if it were. It's just extremely unpleasant to the senses. Okay, weeks ago, the headmaster performed an alchemy experiment incorrectly in Lecture Hall 2B. The resulting chemical reaction produced a rancid yet harmless vapor that still lingers in the room. Do you know what happened here, Steelwind? Well, it all began when the City Watch received a call from the Academy. Supposedly, there was an attack on campus grounds, and the entire building was put on lockdown. The City Watch set up a perimeter around the building while they waited for the system to deactivate. What? Couldn't the Academy have let them in once the scene was secure? I'm not sure about the specifics, but supposedly, the lockdown can't be shut down manually. You'll have to ask one of the Academy's admins if you want to know more. Anyways, you two were also present during the lockdown, am I correct? Did either of you see anything suspicious? No, but we actually met the professor that morning. She was still alive then. I see. That does match with the accounts from other witnesses. Do you have any idea where she went after she left the library? The headmaster gave us express permission to be here. If you have an issue with that, then take it up with him. I'll have you know that I was on my way to do just that. She said that she was going to meet with the headmaster. He also mentioned that when I questioned him. She attended the meeting as planned. If the headmaster met with Bellwether, you'll probably want to speak with him next. She must have found her way into this classroom afterwards. Would you happen to have a map of the academy? I do. I have extra copies if you'd like one. What is it? There's only one direct path from the headmaster's office to this lecture hall. But I wonder if she took any detours. A map of the Imperial Academy. It displays the general area where Catherine Bellwether was seen that day. Do you know how the body was discovered? 2 members of the kitchen staff spotted her collapsed inside this classroom. They reported the situation to the campus admin while they attempted to save her life. But it was too late. The professor had already passed away by the time any healers arrived. Those 2 staff members, who are they? I believe their names were Valentina and Valerie Iannis. They're apparently sisters. Orem was the one who collected their statements. Did he notice anything off about their behavior? From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks? He told me that they were running and spinning around him during questioning. What does that mean? I have no idea. Perhaps they were still on edge after finding their co-worker murdered. You'll definitely want to speak with those staff members. The body was discovered in Lecture Hall 2B by Valentina and Valerie Iannis, 2 members of the kitchen staff. According to Commander Orem White, they were being hyperactive during questioning. We've already told the Inquisition this, but Wallace was with us the entire time. He couldn't have committed the murder. Yeah, he has a perfect alibi. Strong, maybe, but his alibi is far from perfect. Ms. McCoy herself told us that. There was a small time period when she wasn't with him. What? Right, it was when I came to check on you after you knocked over that shelf. Excuse me. I got a little lost on my way back to Wallace. But still, we only lost each other for a few minutes. That may be, but unless his alibi is airtight, the evidence in this room proves that it was him. What do you mean? It will be easier to explain once you examine it yourself.
Arcanum.
As a mage from a noble house, you must have gone to school here. Did you know Catherine Bellwether while you were here? Unfortunately, I did. I constantly clashed with her over her treatment of the students. One of my biggest regrets is failing to remove her from her position before I graduated. It sounds like many people didn't get along with the professor. I would say more, but it doesn't feel right to speak ill of the dead. What do you think about this, Miss Steelwind? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't say much about that. Okay. Alright, so it looks like we are going to head to the kitchen. Hello? Is anyone there? It looks like there's no one here right now. Maybe we should check somewhere else. You follow the map that Steelwind gave you, and you arrive at the headmaster's office. Oh, hello there. I wasn't expecting guests today. Sorry for coming unannounced. You must be... My name is Theodore Redmond. I'm the headmaster of the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. And judging from your appearance, you must be the protege of Ruby Timora. To what do I owe the pleasure? They must be here to investigate the murder. Wait, Eris? I thought you went to see Wallace. Unfortunately, the Inquisition is questioning him right now. They aren't allowing visitors. He must be so scared right now. I hope he's okay. Right. She had the same experience not too long ago. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. It's a painting of someone. He looks like some sort of professor. That's Professor Lucas Gilbert. He was an instructor here many decades ago. He was well beloved by the students here, and he was quite the accomplished scholar. And this was all despite him lacking the ability to use magic. He studied magic without actually being able to use it? Yes, he was quite remarkable. Unfortunately, we lost him to illness very early in his life. It's a painting of a mage, but he doesn't quite look like a noble. Oh, that's Jason Steelwind, one of the chosen mages of the Scaled Lord. Wait, Steelwind? As in, yes, he's the earliest recorded ancestor of House Steelwind. Legends say that the Scaled Lord bestowed his power upon him and his allies to create the first mages. Wow, it's hard to even tell that he and the prosecutor belong to the same bloodline. As with all the noble houses, House Steelwind had quite humble beginnings. If only they'd remember where they came from. It's a small table for guests. Is that wine? No, actually, it's just apple juice. Most of my guests are students, after all.
Arcanum.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any magic going on. There's a fireplace with some burning wood. It looks pretty cozy. There's a window with a view of a garden. The headmaster has a nice view from up here. Be right back. Just my sinuses, I don't know. I think it's because of the weather. This is terrible. To think that one of my prized students would be accused of murder. We heard your voice on the intercom when the lockdown happened. Are you the one who triggered it? Yes, I activated it when I received a call from one of the staff. They reported that Professor Bellwether had been attacked. The headmaster activated the Academy's lockdown system in response to receiving a call from security. This call reported that Catherine Bellwether had been fatally wounded. How does the lockdown system work? It's an artificery network that covers the entire Academy. In the event of an emergency, I can activate it using this stone. The headmaster pulls out a glowing stone from his desk. You can hear the hum of magical energy emanating from it. Once activated, the system creates magical barriers throughout the building. It's designed to contain and protect each room in the building. Could a powerful mage breach any of those barriers? I doubt it. The barriers can withstand a great amount of force. They even block mages from teleporting through them. And once activated, even I can't turn it off for an hour. The Academy's lockdown is a system of artificery that covers the entire Academy building. Once activated, it creates magical barriers that isolate and protect each room in the building. These barriers can't be breached with physical or magical force. They also block mages from teleporting through them. What can you tell me about Wallace? Earlier you said that he was one of your prized students. Aww. I just need to understand. Why did the prosecutor say that he was a necromancer? Because technically, he is one. What? But why would he study something like that? Necromancy is probably one of the most dangerous and most scrutinized schools of magic. Its image has been long tainted by stories of dark wizards raising armies of the undead. However, it doesn't just control the forces of death. It also controls the forces of life. Forces of life? The truth is that healing magic is also classified as necromancy. Most healers don't care to admit it because of the stigma it has. But that's why Wallace is studying it. He wants to become a doctor. But there are plenty of mages who know healing magic. Why is Wallace being singled out? For years, he's been studying necromancy beyond basic healing magic. He believes that high-level necromancy could revolutionize modern medicine. Unfortunately, many among the faculty don't see it that way. Wallace doesn't hail from a noble house. He's a mage that was born among the common folk. He's like me. Many of the faculty fear that he'll use his knowledge to raise armies of undead, just like the necromancers of old. The Imperial Academy isn't even permitted to teach it to students beyond basic healing magic. Then why did you allow him to study it? After everything that has happened to him, I made an exception. Everything that has happened to him? I'm not at liberty to say more. You'll have to ask him if you wish to know more. If you plan on defending Wallace, you'll need his spell compendium. Am I correct? Yes. Having a client's compendium is instrumental to acquitting them. You may find that a bit difficult. You see, after a certain incident, he destroyed his compendium. What? Why would he do that? Doesn't he need that to use magic? A spell compendium is a device mages use to keep track of what spells they can cast. It's really convenient for remembering the formulas and incantations of your spells, but it's not actually required to use magic. I thought of destroying mine a long time ago, but they're really expensive. Luckily, I have an unattuned spell compendium right here. I'd be more than happy to give it to you if it helps Wallace. Oh, thanks. Wallace just needs to maintain physical contact with it for 10 minutes. After that, the compendium will attune to his magic. Just make sure that you don't let another mage like Celeste hold it. Once it attunes to a mage, no one else can use it. An unattuned spell compendium. If a mage keeps this on their person for 10 minutes, it will attune to their magic and display what spells they can cast. Once it attunes to a person, it can't attune to anyone else. Wait, but then wonderful! I just hope you can persuade Wallace to attune to it. There's that glitch again. Eris is definitely not what she appears to be. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? Aw. Wow, that was a whole mess of emotions. She was rather unpleasant to work with. Can you think of any enemies she might have had? You might as well list everyone who attended the school. Eris, it's best to be blunt with these sorts of things. As you saw this morning, she had a pretty abrasive attitude towards the students. Many people in the school did not care for her. Maybe she wasn't the nicest person, but would that really be enough to motivate someone to murder her? She'd often target and harass students, especially those who were from the common folk. She even made a habit of expelling those students for minor infractions. For commoners, magic can be our ticket out of poverty. I can't imagine how it would feel to have that opportunity unfairly taken from you. She put so much pressure on those students. Some of them even left the academy of their own volition. They couldn't handle her constant verbal abuse. Even then, wouldn't that really be enough motive to commit murder? The human psyche is a fragile thing. It's astounding what someone might do when pushed far enough. What about her relationship with the faculty? In some cases, it was worse than it was with the students. She'd often treat the staff like her personal servants. I've received many complaints from them about her behavior. Sorry if this sounds rude, but why didn't you just fire her if she was such a big problem? She's used her position to curry favor with the noble houses over the years. As you can imagine, the Academy's board is controlled by the nobility. If I ever tried to remove her, they would probably support her over me. Bellwether's reputation. Catherine Bellwether had a tense relation with just about everyone in the Academy. She had a history of bullying students from the common folk and mistreating the Academy staff. For several years, she used her position to curry favor with the noble houses. I heard that you had a meeting scheduled with Professor Bellwether this morning. What time was this, and when did the meeting end? Our meeting was scheduled for noon. She arrived on time, and our meeting lasted until 1 p.m. Did anything seem off about her to you? No, she seemed to be her usual self. You detect a trace of fear, or is it nervousness? If you don't mind me asking, what was the purpose of your meeting? We met to discuss routine administrative matters. Despite our personal disagreements, we knew to stay civil when discussing professional affairs. But to be perfectly honest, it did always feel like I was treading on eggshells when speaking with her. But you were her superior, weren't you? Didn't she respect your authority? We had many arguments about how I was managing the academy, and she was very vocal about her distaste for the common folk students. She was difficult, to say the least. tell me about this, Mr. Redmond? Ah, my apologies. I've learned a lot in my years, but I can't say much about that. It's a terrible thing that happened. To think that someone would commit murder within the Academy, using necromancy no less. Yes, it's all a lot to take in. Steelwind told us that you had a bit of a mishap in Lecture Hall 2B. Ah, yes. I was filling in for the alchemy instructor when I accidentally misread the instructions she left. I'm quite embarrassed to admit that my old age is catching up with me. Okay, so it looks like... Alright, so now I guess we will move back to the kitchen. Hello, is anyone there? Be right there! Sorry, but the cafeteria is closed right now. Actually, we're here to investigate the murder. We heard that 2 members of the kitchen staff discovered the body. Oh, that would be me. I'm Valentina Ayanis. How about the other person? Do you know where they are right now? Oh, that would be my sister, Valerie. But I think she's somewhere else on campus right now. If you're with those knights, we've already told them everything we know. Actually, we're investigating separately from them. I wanted to ask you some questions about what you saw. Sure. Ugh, I'm gonna have to remember those details again. To start, can you tell us how you and your sister discovered the body? Right. My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the west exit. We spotted the professor in a nearby classroom. She was lying on the floor and bleeding. I used an emergency communication device to call for help. While I was doing that, my sister tried to wake her up. That would imply that Valerie thought that she could be resuscitated. Did she know that if the professor was still alive or not? We're not sure, but she wasn't responding at all. She wasn't breathing, and she didn't have a pulse. What do you know about the suspect in this case? His name is Wallace Nightgrave. He's a student here. He's that scary kid, right? The one that raises undead? Those are just rumors. He would never do something like that. But he studies necromancy, right? Have you ever actually met him? No, but I've heard the rumors. He's always hanging around the cemetery. I'm sure he's just biding his time, waiting for his chance to raise an army. It can't be helped that people think of him that way. But you can't help but be a little annoyed on his behalf. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? Ah! Yet another set of complicated emotions. Well, I guess there's no point in hiding it anymore. She was a horrible person. She was really terrible to all of us. By all of us, do you mean the Academy staff? Yeah, she always treated us like her personal servants. Sometimes she'd make messes on purpose just so she could order us to clean it up. This probably sounds terrible, but I'm sure a lot of people are glad that she's gone. I just hope we can still keep our jobs. Interesting. Now, why would she be worried about that? Did you ever feel like your job was at risk because of Bellwether? Yes, actually. She was actually planning to fire all of the staff. All of the staff? That can't be true, can it? The Academy needs the staff to function. I'm not sure about the details. That's just what Jan told us. Who's Jan? He's one of the Academy's custodians. You can probably find him cleaning the halls if you look around. Oh, I have a feeling she probably wanted to fire the staff and replace them with the arcane constructs. What can you tell me about this, Mrs. Ayanis? Sorry, I don't have much to say about that. Okay, let's check the hallway. It's the entrance to a lecture hall. The door says that it's lecture hall 2F. It's the entrance to a lecture hall. The door says that it's lecture hall 2H. Let's storage closet, there doesn't appear to be anything of note inside. It's the entrance to a lecture hall. The door says that it's lecture hall 2B. This is the lecture hall where Bellwether's body was found. It's the entrance to a lecture hall. The door says that it's lecture hall 2D.
Arcane.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any magic here. Let's see. Celeste, this room was close to the crime scene. Could you cast Detect Magic and scan for magical traces? Sure. Did he just say scan for magical traces? Oh, I'll just get out of your way then. Wow, she just bolted out of the room. What was that about?
Arcane.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there was any magical tracers. But let's see. There's a large cooking station here. They must prepare the meals in bulk here. Several commonly used ingredients are close to the cooking area. There's a rack of cooking implements hanging from the wall. Valentina must use these to cook for the students. They must serve the students' meals on these plates. It's a shame that they had to close the kitchen due to the investigation. It's a set of pots for cooking soups and the like. There's a large sack of produce in the corner. There's some wine here, too. That must be for the professors. Oh, it's a plate of bread. They probably serve these as sides to the entrees. Don't get any ideas, Tyrion. What? Remember when we went to that fancy restaurant? You just kept ordering breadsticks and butter. The bread is free! I might as well take advantage of it. You know eating that many carbs isn't good for you. Yeah. It's a barrel full of some sort of drink. I wonder. It's probably not lotus juice, Celeste.
Arcane.
Okay, let's see here. You spot Valentina again. She's speaking to someone in a blue-collar uniform. Could he be the custodian that she mentioned? Jan, where have you been? You still haven't fixed the plumbing in the kitchen sinks. Ugh, someone just died. Can't we take the day off for once? You're causing trouble for me and Valentina. Please be reasonable. Wait, why is Valentina suddenly speaking in the third person? Oh, hello? Valentina? Oh, my apologies. I can see why you're confused. I'm not Valentina. I'm her sister, Valerie. Oh, great, twins. Are you trying to trick us or something? You look exactly the same. You remember reading about something like this before. You two are identical twins, aren't you? You're both genetically identical to each other. Yes, we are. Wait, this means that she was the one who discovered the body alongside Valentina. Since we have you here, do you mind if I ask you some questions about what happened? I'm terribly sorry, but I have already spent a lot of time looking for Jan here. I'm really behind on my work, but Jan was also nearby when we discovered the body. I'm sure he can answer your questions. Before you have a chance to object, Valerie quickly walks away. Wait! Do you want me to go after her? I'm pretty sure I can catch up to her. No, we don't want to scare those two more than we already have. Anyways, Valerie has said that Jan was around when the murder was happened. Maybe he saw something. Jan, was it? Do you mind if we ask you some questions about what happened? Ugh, really? Well, whatever. At least I have an excuse to take a break now.
Arcane.
So, Jan, are you part of the staff here? Yep, I'm a janitor. I clean and I do odd jobs here and there. Well, apparently that's all he has to say about that. Valerie mentioned that you were close to Lecture Hall 2B before they found Bellwether. What were you doing when the twins discovered the body? I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. Wait, You saw the professor before the twins arrived? Yeah, like I said, she broke the vase right in this hallway. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. You might have been the last person to see her alive. Did you see where she went after breaking the vase? Yeah, I think she went into that room over there. Jen points to the lecture hall that Bellwether was found in. Did you see anyone else enter the lecture hall? I'm honestly not sure. I was more worried about cleaning the mess she made. Well, did you notice anything off about her? She was in a pretty bad mood, but honestly, that's pretty normal for her. She was walking real slow. I didn't notice her at first, and she basically shoved me out of her way. After that, she knocked over that vase. I didn't even say anything after that, but she still yelled at me to be quiet. Did you see where she went after that? Not really, but the only thing in that direction is Lecture Hall 2B. I can't imagine her going anywhere else. Okay, Jan's statement. 30 minutes before the Giannis twins found the body, Bellwether walked past Jan in the West Wing hallway. He was in her path, so she shoved him out of her way. After that, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him to be quiet. After this interaction, she walked into Lecture Hall 2B. What can you tell me about Catherine Bellwether? I've heard that she had a pretty bad relationship with the staff. She had a bad relationship with just about everyone. Students, the other teachers, I can't think of many people who actually did get along with her. I'm sure you had your own share of bad experiences with her. Yeah, she'd always yell at me when I was taking too long to get a job done. I hate to say it, but things are a lot more peaceful around here without her. That's blunt, to say the least. But you can't exactly blame him for thinking that. Valentina mentioned something interesting. Did you tell her that Bellwether was going to fire the academy staff? Yeah, I remember that. What made you think that she was going to do something like that? You know those arcane constructs in the library? Bellwether was the one that ordered them. Oh yeah, they're so cool! Well, a few weeks ago I overheard a meeting she was having with the headmaster. From what I heard, she was planning to order more constructs and entirely replace the staff. Oh, I so totally called that. Oh. Well, I'm sure that the headmaster rejected her proposal. I don't know, from the way she was talking, it sounded like he didn't have a say in the matter. But only the headmaster would have the authority to fire the staff. Why would she be that confident? Dunno. All I know is that she hated having common folk in the schools, even among the staff. She was really miffed that he was hiring common folk from the community center. Supposedly, Bellwether told the headmaster that she was planning to fire all of the academy staff and replace them with arcane constructs. This plan was overheard by Jan Hughes a few weeks ago. Are you aware of the foul smell in Lecture Hall 2B? Yeah. Luckily, Arya isn't letting anyone into the lecture hall till the investigation's over. But I'll probably have to get to it eventually. Alchemical messes are always a pain to clean up. I am not looking forward to that. I wonder if Arya can help me out like she used to. Wait, do you personally know Prosecutor Steelwind? She studied here a few years ago. She'd always help me out using her magic. I missed that. Aww. I just really hope we don't lose our jobs to those constructs. Well, if there's any silver lining to Bellwether's death, it's that she can't carry out her plan. Damn! That's kind of heartless, man. While I do want to catch the real murderer, I don't have much pity for people who abuse positions of power. Well, I can't blame you. I'm sure many people feel the same way. How is working under Headmaster Redmond? It's great. I owe a lot to him for getting me this job, but I suppose these things never last. He must be talking about Bellwether's plan to fire the staff. Man, I still can't believe someone offed Bellwether. It's all a little unreal. I'm sure you have mixed feelings about what happened. Yeah, I feel like I should be happy, but honestly, I don't know what to feel. It's easier to not think about it. What can you tell me about this? I don't know. That's not my department. He's not very helpful. Okay, so I think we have gotten all of the information we need from Jan Hughes. So let's go to the Inquisition barracks and see if we can meet up with, Wallace. It's over. My life is over. Wallace? Who are you? What do you want? Wallace, it's Celeste and Tyrion. From the library, remember? Oh, right. How are you doing? Apparently, not well. Please, tell me you're going to get me out of here. I keep telling them that I didn't do it, but they still won't let me go. I'm sorry, Wallace, but they found traces of necromancy magic on the body. And because of that, they're going to push your case to trial. What? Are they going to execute me? This can't be happening. I can feel these walls closing in. I can't breathe. But please calm down. We know that you're innocent. With that said, would you let me represent you in court? Oh, right. You said that you were a lawyer. But I don't really have any money to pay you with. Don't worry about that. For now, let's just focus on getting you acquitted. What? Do they seriously want to help me? No, they want something from me, but... Well, I guess it doesn't matter anyways. It's not like I have anything else to lose. That's not exactly the reaction you were expecting. But at least he's cooperating. The cell has a barred window. Even if a prisoner somehow broke through the bars, there's a potential 3-story drop. You doubt that Wallace would try something like that. Lit torches are hanging on the wall of the cell. It seems a bit irresponsible to put a potentially harmful item in here with the prisoners, but perhaps the Inquisition doesn't care. There's only one locked door that leads into the cell. The door seems to be locked by some kind of magical mechanism.
Arcane.
I don't understand. I was with you in the library the entire time. But why do they still think I'm the murderer? It makes no sense. Unless... You told the Inquisition, right? Did you tell them I'm innocent? Did they frame me? We did, but as we said before, there are traces of necromancy on the body. And with the state of the body, they believe that she was murdered with a necromancy spell. Apparently, that makes you their prime suspect. I see. Wallace, we heard about the type of magic that you're studying. Don't worry. The headmaster explained it to us already. You just want to use necromancy to become a doctor, right? I understand that you have reservations about talking about your magic, but in order to build a case for you, I need your spell compendium. I don't have one. I know. Eris already told us about that. That's why she gave us a blank one for you to attune to. Do I have to? It's your life on the line, and we need all the information we can get to help you. Sorry, you're right. I'll attune to it. Wallace Nightgrave's Spell Compendium. It contains the formulas for the following spells: Prestidigitation, Mend Wounds, Illusory Disguise, Revive, Animate Corpse, and Necrotic Blight. Dude, you just need some goth eyeliner. Prestidigitation. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last for as long as they maintain concentration on the spell. Heals the wounds of the target over the casting time. Wounds on the target are magically healed without leaving any scars or bruises. This spell can't restore missing limbs, nor can it revive someone who has already died. Places an illusion on the target to completely change their visual appearance. The disguise moves with the target for the duration. The disguise can make the target look 1 foot larger or smaller. Elements hidden by the spell are made invisible, and elements created by the spell are purely visual. You cannot make physical contact with it. Floods the target with life energy in an attempt to resuscitate them. It does not heal wounds sustained. Results may vary, but it cannot resuscitate someone who has been dead for more than a minute. Reanimates the target using life energy, creating an undead minion for the duration. The minion follows the caster's orders. but its intelligence is limited and it cannot speak. The minion can end the spell prematurely, but will only do so if ordered to by the caster. Once the spell has ended, the undead will return to being a dead body. Ooh, I'm beginning to wonder something. I wonder if Professor Bellwether was also a necromancy practitioner and was somehow using corpses for the arcane constructs. Necrotic Blight pulls all of the life energy from the target, resulting in instant death. This spell does not wound the target, nor does it leave any physical evidence, but it still leaves a magical trace. So there's the contradiction. The fact that she was lying in a pool of blood, yet a necromantic spell that steals life force was used on her. You understand the reason why he's studying this type of magic. But the spells in his compendium are still pretty gruesome. It's a little terrifying that spells like this even exist. Sorry, I know I was being difficult. A long time ago, I showed my compendium to someone I trusted. After she saw my necromancy spells, she told everyone in the academy. That's also when Professor Bellwether started coming after me. I'm sorry, that must have been hard for you. But at least you had Eris. Yeah, I did. How did you and Eris become friends anyways? There's that fear again. Another hint of fear from her. Are her fears related to Eris? Oh, it's a bit of a strange story. Sometimes the other students would steal the idea number off my locker, then they'd switch it with the one on another locker. They thought it was funny whenever the owner got angry with me. Eris had a bit of a reputation around our school. I'm not sure why, but everyone was scared of her, even the students from the nobility. It was probably due to some baseless rumors. One day, someone switched my nameplate with hers. I was so scared when she approached me. I couldn't even say anything, but she didn't get angry like the others. She just apologized and gave me back my nameplate. After that, she randomly started talking to me whenever she saw me. We became friends after that. That's nice. It's a good thing he was able to find a friend in a place like this. So, I have to ask, if it's caused you so much trouble, why are you still studying necromancy? I want to use it to become a doctor. The headmaster told us the same thing. But you could have just stopped after learning the healing spells. Why are you learning spells that can steal people's life force and raise undead? Life and death are two sides of the same coin. That's the key principle behind necromancy. The first undead was actually a failed attempt to resurrect a human using magic. Wow, I never knew that. Right now, basic necromancy can only heal injuries and wounds, but it can't do anything for diseases or deformities. If I could just keep studying, I know that I can create a new type of necromancy. One that can cure diseases and save lives. He specifically wants to cure diseases. Did something happen to him to motivate him that much? I think I can already guess the answer to this question, but how is your relationship with Catherine Bellwether? It's exactly what you'd expect. Ugh. After word got out about what I was studying, Professor Bellwether would always target me. She'd start yelling at me for the smallest mistakes. She'd do that to some of the other students too, and she'd focus on the ones that were poor like me. That's terrible. I'd wake up each day dreading the possibility that she'd notice me in the hallways. I knew how to avoid her and stay out of her way, but sometimes she'd just come looking for me. I can't believe that after everything she did, she's just gone. Excuse me. He must have mixed emotions about what happened. I honestly don't know how I feel about it. To be honest, I always wished she would just disappear. But now that it's finally happened, I just feel even more afraid. It feels like she's going to come back from the grave to haunt me. Even with Bellwether gone, his trauma will still probably linger. I think I'm starting to put things together now. Have you figured something out? Yeah, I just need to take some time to think through everything. The prosecution wants to implicate Wallace despite his alibi. They wouldn't have a reason to do this, unless the evidence heavily implicated him. How does the evidence implicate Wallace? We've learned that Wallace is a necromancer, and he is the only person at the Academy that's capable of high-level necromancy. There's a trace of necromancy on the body. This means that they think that Wallace used one of his necromancy spells. Even without seeing the traces, it's pretty obvious that magic was used on the body. Right, because there aren't any wounds on it. And the autopsy report found no signs of poison or disease. Which spell do they think Wallace used? If I know Professor Steelwind, she probably already has a theory on which spell he might have used. The prosecution will probably argue that Wallace used one of his spells to kill Bellwether. They will probably say that he used Necrotic Blight. That makes sense. Necrotic Blight would have drained the life force from her body. Bloodstain under the body. There is a pool of blood where Catherine Bellwether's body was. This is strange, because she wouldn't have been wounded by Necrotic Blight. But that's where the contradiction lies. Let's suppose that Wallace did kill Bellwether using Necrotic Blight. There's something at the crime scene that wouldn't be there if that were true. What is wrong with the crime scene? Something that was on the body that shouldn't be there. Illusion. Just looking at everything. Necrotic Blight is a spell that doesn't inflict any visible wounds. There shouldn't have been any blood on the body. But then what really happened? That's the last piece. And if I had to guess, the information we need is being hidden by one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Valentina. She's definitely hiding something. Did you notice how she reacted when I asked you to scan the room? Yeah, she ran away. She didn't even try to be subtle about it. With the way she reacted, I think she may have been trying to hide herself from your detect magic, which can only mean that there's a magical trace on her. I wonder what she's trying to hide. There's only one way to find out. The next time you see her, could you subtly cast detect magic and scan her? Alright. It's been a while since we last talked to her. Valerie also mentioned that they still had work to do today. She might be back in the Academy's kitchen now. Okay, so we will go back to the kitchen. Those two are finally gone. I can finally get some cleaning done. Okay, there she is. Use detect magic to scan her from here. Right. Just don't shout the incantation like you always do. I know that. Alright, here goes. Repario Arcane. What is it? There's a trace of magic on her. I knew it. Which school of magic is it? It's necromancy. There's a trace of necromancy on her. What? Valentina has a magical trace of necromancy on her. Someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. What do we do now? You're still not sure how this fits in with everything. For now, let's talk to her and see if we can get more information out of her. If all else fails, we can confront her with the evidence we have. Oh, it's you two again! They're back? Okay, just relax. All I have to do is repeat what I told them last time. Unfortunately for her, that won't work this time. Ms. Iannis, did you know that there's a trace of necromancy on Bellwether's body? That's what he used to kill the professor, right? A necromancy spell? That's the thing. If that were true, a lot of the evidence we found doesn't make sense. I think someone else cast a spell on the body. Is it possible that you saw someone use magic on Bellwether? No, definitely not. Calm down, there's no way they know. Her thoughts are an open book now. If you beat her in an argument, her thoughts might show you what she's hiding. Valentina Iannis' psychological profile is complete. Okay, let's have the argument, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end things off for the night because my voice is getting tired and I just want to go to bed. Valentina clearly knows more than she's letting on. She found the body alongside her sister and reacted strangely when you mentioned someone may have used magic on the body. What is she hiding? Miss Iannis, from the very beginning, I felt like you've been hiding something from us. Valentina is more concerned with protecting herself than doing the right thing. She will continue to hide her secrets, unless she thinks that doing so is dangerous for her. She sees Wallace as a villainous necromancer and will not feel pity for him. There's something that you're not telling us about. What are you talking about? I've told you in the nights everything I know. I've got nothing to hide. My conscience is clear. Miss Iannis, it's clear to anyone how nervous you are. I can practically see the fear you're emanating right now. Just tell us the truth. It'll be a lot easier for the both of us. Let's say I were hiding something, which I'm not, by the way. I don't have to tell you anything. Why should I tell you anything? I know my rights. You've already given your statement to the Inquisition. If the truth comes out, what do you think they'll do when they realize you lied to them? Huh. Who are you protecting, Miss Iannis? You talk a big game, but I bet you can't actually prove anything, can you? You think I'm lying to protect someone? I don't know anyone who can use magic. I don't even know any mages. And I definitely didn't see anyone use magic on the body. Miss Iannis, you know someone capable of casting magic. And this proves it. That doesn't prove anything. You're bluffing. Okay, definite proof that she is a mage. You can't hide the truth from us, Miss Iannis. What? You said that you've never even seen a necromancy spell before. If that were true, then why is there a trace of necromancy on you? Wait, what? There's a trace of necromancy on me? What? Did she not know about the spell that was cast on her? No, that doesn't make any sense. If she didn't know about the trace, she wouldn't have avoided Celeste back then. There must be an explanation for this. You've successfully argued against Valentina Iannis. This is crazy! Why is there a trace of necromancy on me? Am I going to die? Am I going to become a zombie? That's strange. Is she really unaware that a spell was cast on her? Or is she playing dumb? Why doesn't Valentina know that the spell was necromancy? She knows that someone used magic on her, but she doesn't know that spell was necromancy. The spell cast on Valentina healed her. Calm down, Miss Iannis. Not all necromancy spells relate to the undead. Healing spells are also from the school of necromancy. Healing spells? Oh, it was from that time she healed that cut. That implies she knows a mage who studies healing magic. Could that person be a student here? Sorry, I just remembered that there's something else I have to do. I'll be right back. Hey! Come back here! Oh, she ran away again. I can catch her. There's no way she can outrun me. No, the Inquisition is still stationed around the surrounding areas. They'd probably intervene if we started harassing one of the witnesses. That's true. But we weren't able to learn anything. Actually, I did learn one thing. She has a friend who cast a healing spell on her. Really? How did you figure that out? Good deductive reasoning. Wow. Well, healing magic is also a form of necromancy, right? I guess that explains the trace on her. It's a good thing we know Wallace. Otherwise, we might have also thought that a necromancer was trying to kill her. Wait a minute. That's it! What? Did you figure something out? This whole time we've been wondering why there's a trace of necromancy on the body. It isn't because someone attacked Bellwether with a necromancy spell. It's because someone used necromancy in an attempt to heal her. Oh, I see. It doesn't matter what type of necromancy spell someone uses. Spells from the same school of magic leave the same type of trace. It's not just that. The body clearly has blood on it. What would happen if someone used a healing spell on a wounded body? It would close all that body's wounds. In other words, it would remove any cuts or bruises. Well, interrogating Valentina may have been a dead end, but it still gave us just what we needed to win this case. I'm not so sure that was a dead end. What do you mean? It's not that suspicious that she asked someone to heal her if she injured herself. But if it's only that, why would she go to so much trouble to hide it? It's too coincidental. The wounds on the body were healed by an unknown person, and the person who found the body is hiding the identity of a healer. They have to be the same person. I guess that makes sense. So, what do we do now? Valentina is definitely onto us. I doubt we'll get a third chance to speak with her. Hopefully, what we have now is enough to acquit Wallace. You've done everything you can. Use what you've learned to poke holes in the prosecution's case. And if that doesn't work, you can drag Valentina on the witness stand and pull the truth out of her. You just hope that what she's hiding is enough to acquit Wallace. I demand to know why you're still holding on to my rapier. It's a precious family heirloom and I want it back. It's evidence in the current case. Evidence? The professor was killed with necromancy. Was she, though? Why are you asking me? You're the one who's investigating this. I suppose it doesn't matter. Just know that I will bring her murderer to justice, no matter who it may be. Huh. All right. Hey, thank you very much for the raid, Matsuquinox. I am actually just about to end things off for the evening. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Jewelry Jelly. My real name is Rebecca Rudranath, and normally I don't sound this hoarse, but I've been reading a visual novel for the evening. Right now I am playing a visual novel called Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. It is on Steam. And I want you to think of Ace Attorney, but in Magic World. By my side, I have one of the newest dolls in my collection. Well, it's a doll head on a borrowed doll body. This is Cody. And for those of you who are into wrestling, he is named after Cody Rhodes. And this is George Washing Machine. Matsu is afraid of him. Please don't ask him why. It's very traumatic. Anyways, like I mentioned, I was actually just about to end things off for the evening. So the next stream that I'm going to be having is going to be Saturday night. And instead of Tyrion Cuthbert, we are going to be playing Model Debut Nicola 3, which came out fairly recently in English. It is a fashion game where you get to dress up and make magazine layouts. So that is going to be a fun time. Anyway, we're actually going to be raiding Desert Bus for Hope. They are on the last days of their 2024 drive. And I do want to mention that earlier this week, the prize that I donated to Desert Bus raised $2,000 for Child's Play. I made a crocheted plush of Ketchy from Final Fantasy VII, and it was introduced on their stream. Unfortunately, it was introduced during the Night Watch shift, which is like 9 to, I forget what hour, but they're like 3 hours ahead of us, and it ended up selling like at 4 a.m. my time. So I wasn't able to see any of the promos for it because I was asleep. But I woke up yesterday morning and checked my phone first thing to find out that it had sold for $2,000, and I'm very happy about that. A lot of people told me that I had done a very good job on it, and I couldn't be happier. All right, everybody, let me get the raid set. Let's see here. Do. I am sorry that I am really stuffy. I honestly, the past couple weeks, I've been dealing with lingering after effects from the seasons changing, as well as I had COVID a couple weeks ago. Alright, everybody, so thank you very much for joining me, even though it was for a very short time. We are going to raid Desert Bus for Hope. And until next time, this has been Jewelry Jelly with Cody and George Washing Machine. And until we meet again, may all of your tea times be perfect.